Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to say thank you for coming into our presentation and to the honorable one, Miss Vira. It's an honor to meet you guys here. First of all, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Runold Salijo Muir Jr. Next to me is Ziggy Fachrurazi, and the second one is Siska Aulia, and the last one is Natasya Febrianti. Okay, we begin the material today with Japanese culture, features, and characteristics that will brought to you by Siska Aulia. Go ahead, Siska.
Alright guys, I'm gonna explain to you about Japanese culture, feature, and characteristic. The characteristic of Japanese people. Physical characteristic. Japanese people tend to have oval facial structure with large eyes and more defined nose. Japanese women often wear heavy makeup to give off a pale white skin tone. Next, Japanese people characteristic. Number 1. Be on time. The people and the entire system in Japan have a high respect for discipline and on time. Train as well as other public transportation such as buses are also very tertiary bodies in fact. A train company there once issued a public apology for leaving 25 seconds ahead of schedule. Number 2. A harder worker. Japanese people who try to respect whatever affairs they do, especially those related to work. It is in the term karoshi, which is often used to describe their attitude towards work, which is meant to die from too much work. Number 3. Very diligent at work. They are so diligent at work that sometimes many do not take holidays. The workforces there spend nearly 200 to 400 more hours working than in countries such as Germany and French. This results in the loss of annual holiday in Japan by up to 17% because many people don't use them. I don't know why. Number 4. Very polite. Very polite. One of the most famous ways of greeting Japanese people is by bowing to one another, not only once or even 3 times. Number 5. Clean lines. As a culture, Japanese schools do not have a cleaners. Students and teachers are used to cleaning things by themselves. They take out the trash, sweep, and dust the school building at least 30 minutes during the day. Number 6. Healthier. Because of the way they combine food, rice is one of their staple foods. However, it is certainly less filling, less nutritious, and heavy in calorie. So, the Japanese mix rice with other foods such as fish, vegetable, fermented food, and fruits. Number 7. Active lifestyle. People in Japan lead a very active lifestyle from childhood. According to the World Health Organization, more than 89% of children in Japan walk or drive to school. Japanese culture. There is a culture that is unique from the past, such as sumo wrestling in Japan, kabuki theater stage, traditional dance kimono, traditional Japanese clothing is worn at traditional events and festivals that are held annually in each of the 4 spring, summer, autumn, and winter season. And a samurai known as a Japanese samurai also wore a kimono. You can see, guys, the picture of this slide. You can see about this the girls using kimono, and then you can see sumo, and I don't know, is it what? It's people walk. Oh, I think there's people using jas for berangkat kerja, because Japanese people always on time on work, right? And then there is people lagi eat, I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry guys if you don't understand what I say, and now I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I don't know Japanese too much. I'm still learning. I'm sorry. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you very much, Siska. Next is Korean culture, features, and characteristics that will brought to you by Natasya Febrianti. Go ahead, Natasya.
Thank you, Roy. Hello, my name is Natasya Febrianti. I will explanation Korean culture, feature, and character. Korean culture, feature, and character. The character of Korean people. Physical character. Korean face have more prominent jaws and high cheekbones, yellow skin, snub nose, black eyes, and hair. Korean people characters. Number 1. Nationalism. The dominant trait of the Korean people is a sense of nationalism. They are very loving, loyal to their country. This is shown by their loyalty and devotion to their own nation, just like the South Korean athletes, their victories for their country. Number 2, emotional Korean people also turn out to be very emotional. Not emotional in the sense of being angry, but emotional in that it's easier to cry and express their feelings. That when someone dies in Korea, it will be very sad for the family left behind. Number 3, someone addiction, the more active the word technology, the more people use this technology. Like only Koreans who are very dependent and very addicted to smartphone. They won't let their cell phones run low because they run out of batteries or leave their cell phones at home. Number 4, pressure. The main trait of Korean people is that they are very often surprised and oppressed. Korean people really want their children to be smart in academic, but instead pressure their children to do what their parents want. Some even pressure their doctors to marry good and stable protective partner. Korean culture. Number 1. Consuming kimchi. Kimchi is fermentasi kabak chilies combined with red chili sauce. This menu is complemented by delicious and soupy pets and as a spicy and sour taste. Korean people really like kimchi and this food is always consumed side by side with other dishes, such as spicy fried chicken, bibimbap, or fried rice. Number 2, hanbok clothes. Hanbok clothing is one the hallmark of South Korean culture. Hanbok is a traditional Korean dress that generally has bright color, simple lines, and not pockets. Usually, the hanbok used by the royal family or noble descendants will have a different style with ordinary. Number 3, hanok most of use have seen traditional Korean house. Whether from photos or while chatting Korean film, hanbok is the name for a traditional South Korean house. This house has unique and artistic appearance in terms of architecture. Hanok design reflects the spiritual connection between humans and nature. The structure of the building brings us back to a simple and more serene life. Number 4, street food snack at early morning. Some Korean people have activity or hang out until morning. With this activity, they can feel hungry, so that snack on the side of the road can be one of their goals. Street snack in the South Korea are usually sold in open cars, tents, or in small houses that profitable and cars. I return it to the moderator. Go ahead, Roy.
Thank you very much, Natasya. And the next is Arabic culture that will be brought to you by Ziggy Fachrurazi. Go ahead, Ziggy.
My name is Ziggy Fachrurazi Purba. I will explain about Arabic culture. Arabic culture, characters and characteristics of the Arabic and people of Arab descent are synonymous with thick eyebrows, beautiful and sharp eyes, sharp nose, and perfect jaws. Arabic characters from several recitation times and for 3.5 years association with friends from Arab countries such as Egypt, Yemen, Lebanon, and others. In South Africa, Central Asia, and Southeast Asia with the use of speech in Arabic. However, does not include words written in Persian and Urdu using the Arabic alphabet but not in Arabic. But the spoken Arabic language used for writing is Arab which comes form a word meaning. To invite someone to eat, which implies politeness, culture, and enrichment. Arabic writing only spread around the 6th century, early on as a writing fragment, then language emerged after the exchange of the Quran in the 7th century, which was very influential in Arabic culture. Egyptian students gave the material direction. The recession is usually attended by a close student from Indonesia, Malaysia, and Egypt. But when there are several Muslim students from other countries who are in Nigeria. My name is Ziggy Fachrurazi. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ziggy Fachrurazi, Natasya, Febrianti, and Siska Aulia. And I want to start our material today, the last one material. The title of our last presentation is Americans Culture. There are two Americans. There are North America and South America. North America has cultural arts taken from the British because it is a former British colony, speaks English, and many of its inhabitants are of British descent. Then we got South America. South America or Latin America has cultural arts influenced by the Spanish or Portuguese because it is a former colony of Spain or Portugal, uses a Spanish or Portuguese, and many of its inhabitants are of Spanish or Portuguese descent. Okay, I want to talk about the characteristic of these Americans. America's common stereotype is economic materialism and capitalism. They may be thought to care most about money, value everything by their economic value, ridicule people of low socioeconomic status. It's so important, socioeconomic status is so important in America. And then we got lack of cultural awareness. Americans may be stereotyped as ignorant of countries and cultures outside of them. This stereotype shows that they lack of intellectual curiosity, leading them to neglect other cultures, places, or lifestyle outside the United States. The idea of ignorant American student was associated with declining standard American schools and curricula. Okay, we also know that America from the generosity of that America. According to William Bennett, who is also an American, the positive stereotype of American is that they are very generous. The United States sends aid and supplies to many countries. Back there is the negative stereotype of the word of the American. This is the positive one. And Americans can be seen as generous or volunteer. And in 1835, America's attitude toward helping others in need Americans are the fifth most willing to donate their time and money in the world with 55%. Okay, let me skip this one. We also know that Americans may be viewed as a very positive and optimistic people. That's why people in America, it's common, like they like um, workaholic. They used to like workaholic for the common people. Optimism is seen as the driving force behind the achievement of the American dream. Okay, this is the very last one. We're going to talk about Europe. Do you all guys know? It's very indeed. There are many stereotypes of countries in the world towards France society, such as their citizens who are romantic with their flamboyant attitude. However, there are a number of bad stereotypes that are also attached to French society, namely never taking a bath. And then French, we all know French can called to be a timid country. Why? It's because the view of French society as a cowardly nation is probably based on the events of the World War II, in which France surrendered early. And then next, Germany and Austria. We all know that Germany and Austria, it's like to not like it's addicted to beer, because consuming beer has indeed taken root in the culture of German and Austrian society. In the Central European country, reportedly there are 1,300 breweries, and also the Oktoberfest celebration, which is an invention of German society. Then we know that it takes a lot of time to become friends with German. Germans are known to be cold. If they meet someone new, they will treat that person formally, and it will take a long time to warm up. This made it difficult to make friends with Germans. They already have friends with their own circle, and it's very difficult to break through it. Compare this with Indonesians, who get close very quickly and can call you anyone friend after only like 5 minutes hangout. Then they like just call any other guys his friend or her friend. However, this is the good thing about being friendship in Germans. If you manage to if you manage to make a friends with Germans, they will be loyal and always reliable. One of the signs that you are considered to be a friend is when you have been invited to their house, whether for dinner or for wine and coffee. Oh yeah, this is the interesting one. We all know Indonesia called jam karet. It's different with Germany. Different from most of people in Indonesia, if they are late, usually the Germans will apologize and they can be offended if you come from the appointment because it means you don't appreciate them. It's very common. Itu sudah hal biasa for them to tell you that they will arrive in 3 minutes or 9 minutes, not rounded off like another 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Agreement with government offices like that. Very detailed, and don't try to be late if you don't want your business to postpone. And the last one is the kitchen is the most important room in the house at Germany. Kalau di Indonesia, if you were in Indonesian, the first room you will find is usually the living room, ruang tamu. Guests can only enter until the room while the rest of the house is closed. It's different in Germany. It's common to have a kitchen at the front of the house. This is because the kitchen is a very important part of the house. This area is a place where they often to hang out, to cook together, eat, drink some wine, and other activities. So you understand why only friends can come to their house. Because if you come to a German house, you will know what's in the kitchen. Then the last one is, this is the real last one. If you have a birthday, you will be treated. In Germany, this is a lot of interesting in this material today. If you're an Indonesian, get ready for bankruptcy if your birthday is in Indonesia, because you will be asked to treat your friends. Meanwhile, in Germany, it's the birthday that is treated. Isn't it easier for 10 friends to treat one birthday person than one to treat 10 friends, right? Okay, maybe just that we can give to you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the honorable one, Miss Fira and Miss Fitri. Thank you very much. We so honored to meet you guys here. We close this presentation. We were sorry if there are any language that hurt your feelings or wrong in front of you guys. Thank you very much.